Good morning, friends. Today is Saturday, August 8th, 2026, and I'm going to try to be briefer than I've been this summer with my garden tour. This is long overdue, and unfortunately some things have peaked, some are in the process of peaking, but I just thought I would do some updates and take you around the garden. Overall, I think considering the horrific heat and humidity we've had, things look pretty decent. I know I've alluded to this in every video, but it's been a very strange gardening season with the late freeze in the spring, and then we've had fluctuating temps and drought, too much rain, heat, humidity, heat dome, you name it. We've had it. But let's just take a look at successes and messes. The Blue Fortune is still going strong, although it's definitely petering out. I'm probably going to leave this a little bit longer, maybe. I don't know. I normally would have cut it back by now, but it bloomed late because of the late freeze. I definitely have another patch. You'll see it's definitely time to cut it back. I'm torn about this one, but I don't know. Maybe I'll cut some of it back and some of it I'll leave. I don't know. But I'd like to kind of open this up. I mean, I guess I could move the pots, but I'd like to open it up and, give some other things a chance to shine. It's really hard to tell from this video, but this is one plant of purple fountain grass, which unfortunately isn't annual, but oh my goodness, look how spectacular it is. I feel like I'm not really capturing how beautiful it is, and pardon my leftover pot mess here. You can see I've got some dieback on the Blue Fortune. This is the first time I've seen that, so I really don't know what that's about. I've got it on some other patches, but there's still obviously a lot for the bees. They love this. So if you're wanting to do a pollinator garden, Blue Fortune hummingbird mint is the stuff. I know in some of my previous videos I was kind of disappointed in this dragon's breath, but oh my goodness, it has made a comeback. What is kind of being overshadowed by all the new growth. The only thing I could figure is rain and miracle grow. I did not miracle grow during the heat dome, so I've not done miracle grow as often as I normally would have for my annuals. And I have mixed feelings about that, but obviously this is looking good. I do plan to feed my annuals this weekend. I've not done it in about 2-3 weeks, but it's time. The Roman red salvia has taken off. It's looking spectacular. This is also the dragon's breath celosia. Probably if I had these spaced out a little bit more, and I may pull this one over a little bit today to open this up, I would have more growth. But even, with this still kind of overshadowed, you can see it's trying to put on new growth. But the Roman red salvia definitely has come into its own here. I planted these late because they shipped late. They don't smell good, and I have seen the hummingbirds in this once. I don't see them in a lot, which surprises me, but it does give a really nice, I hear the hummingbirds now. It does give an amazing kick to your garden. So this is the second year I've grown it. I will probably grow it again next year. And I'm not a red flower person, but I think this looks good. And I'm thinking, I do like it with the dragon's breath, but I'm thinking I might do this and some Cufia with the El Brido, which you'll see, and some begonias. I saw Hooked and Rooted did an arrangement like that, and I thought that looked really cool. So I might have a little more tropical flair, I guess, next year. Again, this hydrangea has recovered. It was struggling at first. I think this is a limelight or a little lime. Something lemon fountain. I always forget the name of this. The tag is now buried somewhere in here, but I've had this now. This is the third summer. I have seen a little browning on this and my other one, and I don't know if it's sunburn or something else. I always worry about overwatering these arborvitaes or whatever, cypress, whatever this is. But this thing has really, I'm amazed how well it's done in this pot, but it obviously likes this spot, and I just hope that it stays steady. Some more pugster butterfly bush. This is the bodacious salvia, which has been kind of disappointing. I really was expecting it to do better. I don't know if it needs more sun, if I should have fed it more. It's not awful. I mean, it is pretty vigorous. The color is beautiful. I do think it's meant to be in a hanging basket, and I knew this when I bought it, and I'm okay with that. I mean, I think it looks fine in this kind of spherical pot. Also, I apologize if you hear a loud noise in the background. We have neighbors across the street who think it's a good idea to have wrestling in a residential area. You can probably guess how I feel about that. But I apologize if there's background noise from that. Anyway, but you can see this is just like an amazing color. Miss Molly, or what, something Molly butterfly bush, she is reloading. Not sure what happened there. This is the Belicious Pink hummingbird mint. I'm not sure if this is the best spot for it. I think maybe it needs a little more sun, although it gets plenty of sun. I think, though, it's overshadowed a little bit here. I always kind of struggle with this back area. My funky fuchsia butterfly bush, it's done okay. I don't think it's been as happy here, so I always want to try to do something tall and full here to kind of backfill this, but I think maybe next year coleus might be the way to go, and then move these up front where they can get more sun, or to the side. This is my original Belicious Pink. It is reloading. The second flush is not as good as the first, but still, the fact that I even get a second flush is great. And then asters, they bloomed earlier this year, so I'm not sure if they'll rebloom again for summer's out. We'll find out. This actually looked pretty spectacular earlier, but it's on its last kind of leg. We had a storm the other day that kind of beat it down. But you can see, it did look really pretty. This is a smoke bush that I thought had died. I moved it over here temporarily. I still am on the fence if I'm going to keep it. I just really do not have enough of a sunny spot for it to thrive like it does for my neighbors down the street. So I don't know. We'll see. I've even thought about putting it in the ground in the front bank of my yard and just letting it go and see what happens. So that's an option too. Okay, sort of a mess here, so bear with me. So these are pots, or I guess collections of, I call them elephant ears. I guess technically they're called caladiums, and different impatiens I've had since May. One of them I did leave in the pot here on top of my little trash burning barrel, but the others I have transplanted. And I have another one I recently transplanted. I'll show you in a minute. I'm very pleased overall with this area. This is the first year I've grown impatiens, sun patients, whatever you want to call them. I know there's different varieties. Sun patients are a very specific type. Other than the fact they are very susceptible to heat wilt, I do like them. And I've even kind of had the caladiums grow on me a little bit. That's not something I would have picked, but I've seen them everywhere at all the big box nurseries. So I'll be interested to see if they continue to kind of trend in the next year. But yeah, they're not bad. I've seen some other varieties recently were really pretty, but I just really don't want to spend money on annuals at this point in the year. Which is not to say that I might not, maybe for a little fall color. But anyway, definitely a home run. I love this color. I do not deadhead these. All I do is water and put some Miracle Grow. This variety is definitely a little more vivid and vigorous than this. I feel like this is a type of sun patient, and that one's just a regular impatient, but I'd have to check the tags to be sure. My Colorado blue spruce, and then you've heard me talk about my Joe Pye weed. I've got different varieties, including this giant, and this was staked up and standing really pretty until the storm. It's kind of taking a bit of a beating. Let's see if I can get it to stand back up a little bit here and off my Japanese maple. There we go. I probably need, I'm almost out of stakes. I probably need to stake this one up too now. Also need to get these spider webs out. But anyway, you get the idea. The Joe Pye weed has bloomed a long time, and it's still got life left in it. I do see the swallowtails, and I've even seen the hummingbirds over here. I don't know if they're more just kind of hanging out here as opposed to actually getting something to drink. But for those of you who don't know, I grew these for the first time last year, and then it seemed like they had all died back and were dead. And I cleaned out this bed and even put more dirt on top of it. And then all of a sudden they came back and like they doubled. I have no idea how that happened, but I'm glad it did. I love it. It's a nice kind of, pollinator, naturey, wildflower sort of look. So I'm kind of at a loss, like what should I do now this fall and winter? I don't want to risk like digging them up and then them not coming back. I think I just got lucky this time, but I probably need to research that a little bit more. I get maybe they reseeded. I really don't know, but really pretty. And if you have space in your garden for something like this, then I recommend it. I do find these tall ones do need to be staked. But again, I'm not mad about that either. All right. My banana lycium is very happy here. It wasn't at first, but it likes it now. This is the third year I've had this one too. Newly Noir. Love, love, love this coleus. And this actually just now started to do a little bit of this flowering. So I pinched that off so that the growth goes into the foliage and not the flowers. This is Dragon Wing Begonia Rose. Last year, my elderly neighbor, gifted me some red. And I love the red. I like the rose. I do feel like the rose looks prettier when the temps are a little bit cooler. It has a little bit more of a glow to it. But I like both colors. So maybe next year I'll do both. I picked the rose this year, A, just to try something different. But B, I thought, well, this might look, really nice next to the Newly Noir. And I will definitely grow this again. I love this so much. Munstead Wood. We've got a lot going on here. I need to weed it, obviously. But I also have a lot of new growth. So I'll probably get one more really good fall flush, hopefully. Oh, I see hummingbirds. You can't see it, but I'm looking across into the berm. And they are in the Rockin' Fuchsia Pink Salvia, as well as the Unplugged Pink. So maybe I'll get that on video in a bit. Some more Delicious. And this it was very vigorous at first and then kind of got knocked down from the storm, but it's come back. Or an earlier storm this summer, but it's coming back. So I think next year this is going to look even more amazing. And I think this is Olivia Austin Rose. I can't remember. It's a David Austin Rose, though. All right. So, also I need to get up and pick up tree limbs. My Camilla looks like I'm starting. Oh, yes. We've got buds. Look at that. Yay. I guess this is a late summer, early fall bloomer. Again, I also need to get out here and knock down these spider webs because I don't want my hummingbirds or butterflies getting hurt. Then I just planted this late spring Tough Stuff Top Fun. Both of them looked terrible at first, but they have come into their own, and I fully expect these are going to be spectacular next year. I don't think I could maybe get some more blooms this fall. I don't think I will, but I'm just very pleased at the growth that I'm seeing. And like I said, I think it's going to look amazing come next year. This is the other one. This had been sitting on my carport for some time, and I finally potted it up last weekend. And it looked pretty rough at first because it was sitting in a lower, they just get used to being kind of trained a certain way in the original pot. So it was flopping a little bit, and I did have to stake it. But the rest of it's standing up on its own now. And this just really kind of, puts a nice little splash of color over on this end. I think next year I would love, because I have enough pots, extras, I would love to maybe put some back here and do, pots of Impatience and Coleus back here just to kind of, give the splash of color. And I know a lot of you struggle with this too. You know, I love perennials and I love shrubs and trees. I think those are, you know, sort of the anchors of your garden. And perennial, and they certainly can bring in color and texture in their own ways. But there's just something about that extra punch of color from annuals. And I know we all hate spending the money on it. I feel like this year I did really well. I got a lot of good bargains, but you know, the reality is it's just ridiculous expensive. And like I said, I got lucky this year and got some really good deals. But I know this is a struggle for a lot of gardeners, and maybe it is for you too. But if circumstances allow, that is on my wish list for next year. You know, to replenish kind of these existing ones. Because I will say, I have more than got my money's worth out of them. But I think it would look really awesome to kind of backfill and have some more in there. I feel like I've seen Bruce Duncan do this. If you watch the S&K greenhouse nursery videos, he has a shade garden where he has that similar kind of look. And it just wasn't in the cards for me this year, but maybe next year it will be. I would love to do something like that. My Bobo hydrangeas, this is year 3. They look great. I actually was looking back at last year's pictures. I thought they looked better this year than last year, but if I look at the pictures, they seem to be, you know, performing about the same. For some reason, they just feel like they're doing much better this year, or maybe it's all of them. This may have been maybe the only one that really did great last year. I actually pruned them all correctly this time. So thank you to Jenny at Creekside Gardening for that. My Vanderwolf pine, very happy over there. I'm debating if I'm ready to put him in the ground this fall. We'll see. Another bloodgood Japanese maple, which actually blew over the other day in the storm, so had to fix that back. I really wanted to get some annuals in these pots, some coleus or some impatiens, some begonias, something, and it just didn't work out this year. But that's on the wish list for next year too. You know, just kind of punching up the color. I would even also had thought about even doing some Gatsby pink hydrangeas here or some other type of hydrangea. I'm kind of on the fence about what I want to do for sure. We'll see. Also depends on sales and budget and whatnot. This is Inferno coleus. I forget, this is some type of potato vine that I got locally. It's Proven Winners, but I forget the name of the variety. The leaves are very interesting. I do like the color, and I like the leaf shape. It's super cool. If you like dark, moody colors or that maple leaf look, this is a potato vine. I don't have the tag handy, but if you want to know, you can leave a comment and I'll find it and write it down. And then, again, I planted my Roman red salvia late, but even over here in this shady spot, it's doing well. And it did well over here last year too. So obviously it's more spectacular if you can give it more sun, but it's still a nice little, you know, punch of color peeping out. This is another cedar. It's, and I don't know, I think we might be getting to this point in the year where the conifers are looking a little raggedy. I do see new growth on it. But I will say there's been a lot of needle drop, and I don't know if it's because of the heat or if it's just that time of year. But I think I am going to experiment and get this one in the ground for sure, doing the above ground planting method. So we'll see. My other bloodgood maple, is doing well. Again, I forgot to get the spider webs knocked down. And if you deal with these Joro spiders here in the south, you know, it's like a daily thing. Albrido coleus, like, what can I say? It is amazing. I will say it has taken on more green as the summer has gone on and less of the pink purple. I'm not sure if that's because of shade, more shade, or more sun. This does get more sun in the afternoon now this time of year, so I'm not sure, but it doesn't matter. I love it. It's looked gorgeous all year. 100% recommend Albrido. I will grow this again. Dipped in Wine is what I had over here last year and what I originally wanted, but it sold out online by the time I was able to get it. So I would like to do dipped in wine again too. And I think it actually would be fine to mix in with this. So if you're looking for some coleus that has, a nice, really lush growth and is not leggy, but is more bushy, dipped in wine is good, as well as this El Brido. Kind of repeated the same thing here. That was another thing I've been a little bit more intentional about this year, is trying to repeat plants and color and texture and structure. Again, thank you, Bruce Duncan. This is my verbena that it has buds and never blooms. I suspect it's just where I've got it. It needs more sun, but I like it here, so I'm okay. That's my other Tough Stuff Top Fun. You can see all the new growth. This Forever Goldie really needs to be in more sun, but for right now, it works here. And some additional conifers. You've seen these. Another El Brido. Look how amazing that is, y'all. I love it. And then I moved a Blue Fortune over here recently, and the bees are all over it. So I will not be, that one still looks pretty decent. I will not be cutting it back. Okay. So again, hopefully you can kind of get the effect. Like when you kind of walk up or drive by, you see these little splashes of color, which I think is nice. Okay, let's go over here. I'm talking like way too much. Beauty berry, again, if you've watched my previous videos, this will be familiar. This Bobo, this one I've had to watch because with the heat, supposedly this is supposed to be able to take a lot of sun, and it does not get full sun all day, but what sun it does, it seems to sometimes struggle. It could be because it's in the pot too, though. Again, I need to really do some weeding over here too. For whatever reason, this rose bush looked amazing a few weeks ago, and now it's struggling. So I am going to feed it this weekend. Make sure I'm not giving it too much water, and make sure it's getting enough. This area is sometimes hard to tell because you can see the yellow leaves, and sometimes that's always, frequently a sign of too much watering. But I have also learned sometimes it's a sign that something is a little bit parched. So this is a little bit of a tricky area. It shouldn't be, but it is. These are different butterfly bushes. They were teeny tiny. This is the third year I think I've had these. It's taken them this long to get this size, but I'm not mad. I love them. This Molly, and then I think this is Purple Cascade. There was a Black Knight in here, but I think it's been overtaken by Purple Cascade and Molly. And again, I'm not mad. Another Forever Goldie, which I love. Some purple fountain grass, and the berm has not been as vigorous as what's in the pot, which is interesting to me. And I talked about this in my last video. I am over the winter going to make sure that I amend this berm with lots of compost. I think I did not do a good job of that when I initially did it in the spring. And then my Snow Sprite cedar back there. Sorry. I've really got to get a leader trained up, and I've been saying this for a year now, but for real, that's on my priority list. It's still miserable hot, but not as bad as it was, so it's a little bit easier to be out here now to do garden chores. Sweet Caroline Sweet Caroline potato vine. This is the second year I've grown it. Love it, love it, love it. I usually get it from Garden Crossings, but it was available locally in the little, quart pots. Which, I wish I knew what the local nurseries and big box stores were going to have in advance, because basically I can buy it locally for half the price that I can online. And, obviously we all want to maximize our spending power. The big box stores, they're never consistent from year to year what they're going to order. And I just really wish they would be. But I feel like they cater kind of to the occasional gardener and not necessarily people that are coming, trying to, be more intentional. And I don't mean that to sound snotty. And sometimes surprise and spontaneity are good. But, when you're trying to maximize your budget you set for yourself, it just would be nice to know, they're going to have this potato vine and I could get it locally for half the price. And it's this exact same thing. So we'll see. The double play doozy, I don't know. I feel like Maybe it needs a little bit more sun to bloom as consistently as I see it do for other people. But it is a beautiful shrub. I have another one you'll see in a minute that's actually done better in a pot. So I'm debating taking this out. I really almost want to fill this up with annual salvias next year. And again, it pains me to do annuals for some things, but my goal is to attract pollinators and to have punches of color. So this does not meet that criteria. I don't want to get rid of it. I just think I might need to maybe put it in a pot and relocate it. And we'll see. The pink cascade butterfly bushes are doing great. This one in the middle was spectacular when I first got it. I got it at Lowe's. It was supposed to be funky fuchsia. It was clearly was not, and it was gorgeous. And then we had a storm, and it took out half the limb, so I cut it back, and it's just really struggled ever since. Like, it almost looks like it has heat wilt today. And these have been not watered today, but they're watered thoroughly pretty much every day. So I don't know what's going on here with that. I may dig it up when it cools off a little bit toward the end of the month and put it in a pot and let it be there in the winter, and then figure out to put something else here in the middle. This berm has been a mixed success. It has overall, though, not been as successful as I had hoped. So I've kind of got to rethink that. I don't know. I may just put another pink cascade in the middle next year, or a Gatsby pink hydrangea, and just have like a wave of pink. We'll see. Unplugged pink. I know some other gardeners up north have not been impressed with it, but it's been great for me here in the south. My rockin' pink fuchsias finally have started to put on a show. They have not been as awesome as they were the last 2 years. And I've heard other gardeners in the south say the same thing. So, will that stop me from buying it next year? No. I love rockin' fuchsia, but I also really like the unplugged pink. I think they're both great. I love it with this potato vine. I will definitely do this again. My rockin' blue fuchsia has done really well back there. One just, a few inches away, not so much. Again, I think it was getting too much shade at the beginning of the year. And I almost dug it up and moved it. But at this point, I think I'm just going to let it be. And, who knows, this fall, especially if I end up, it has done better since I've moved or cut back this butterfly bush. But if I go ahead and move this, I don't know, maybe sooner than later is the thing to do. It's hard to know. I did also cut back this one. I think this was a Black Knight. It's been kind of crazy. In hindsight, I should not have planted this and the strawberry vanilla hydrangea together, because this really kind of wants to overshadow the hydrangea. So I've got to, I think, decide who's going to get moved. I may even move both. Although I must say, this purple, it is very pretty how all this is now like, cascading over. It's just this has not bloomed as heavily as it did last year, and this has been a late bloomer, the strawberry vanilla. Again, a weird spring, I think, is part of that. But last year I had this filled with tons of salvia, and I loved it, and I really missed that this year. So we'll see. The hummingbird, honeysuckle, again, I do not know why it's not blooming. I've seen tons of buds. I don't think anything's eating it. It's just not bloomed heavily. It's trying to, again, when it blooms, it's beautiful, but I want something, but this variety is also not very fragrant. It's supposed to be. I can't smell it, and I can smell just fine. So, I don't know. I saw some things at Lowe's, some jasmine. I forget, I have to look back at my pictures, that smelled amazing. Part of me kind of is thinking maybe I might want to replace this with that. I don't know. We'll see. I also have some purple bean vine that I've grown from seed, and this gets a lot of sun, so I've been surprised it's not done as well. I don't feel like it's been overly competing with the honeysuckle vine, but maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, this is my other double play doozy. Again, it's done pretty well. For sure better in the spring than now, but I see other people growing them in the ground and here in the south, and they seem to do better. So I just don't have a spot. So I guess I'll take what I can get. It does look pretty good most of the time. It is susceptible to dieback though, or at least mine are in a pot. So that's one thing to watch. I recently transplanted these two rockin' pink salvias. I'm going to feed them. And I fully expect they're going to take off in the next week or two, because the other one that I transplanted 4 to 6 weeks ago now is like blooming like crazy. That's on the back deck. I've got some dragon's breath that sprung up. My Gara is reloading, so I'll have a nice flush in a few weeks, which looks beautiful in the fall. Some more purple fountain grass. My Arizona, Carolina cypress. Love that tree. It is starting to thicken up on the trunk now, finally. Oh, hang on. There's a hummingbird out here. Don't go away. Sorry. It's fluttering in and out of the rock and blue. Sorry, I'm doing a terrible job trying to get this on video. Let me walk around and see if I can get it without scaring it. Nope, it's up in the tree. Sorry, y'all. Okay, hopefully I didn't give you... Whoa, we got a butterfly incoming. Which, by the way, they like the hydrangeas in addition to the butterfly bush. Anyway, Carolina cypress is coming on. Yeah. This Gatsby pink, you might remember, was T90. I fully expect this to be a showstopper next year. The blue boa really struggled at the beginning of the year. I thought I'd lost all of it, and I just let it flop. But it's really been fine. It's kind of broken out blooms, kind of like when you peg a rose. Except this was kind of more organic. I didn't intentionally peg it. But, I'm not mad. It's actually come on strong. I lost a couple, but what was left seems to have rebounded. So the pollinators love it, and it's beautiful. Now, this is also some more dragon's breath, yet it is not... It's starting to get new growth, but just not as quickly as the others. But again, maybe not enough sun. This is one Blue Fortune. This literally is one plant of Blue Fortune, y'all. And it was in a tiny pot for a long time. And I finally transplanted it this year, and it has gone crazy. And part of me feels like I should cut it back, but the blooms still look fairly decent. And right now there are 1 million bees. I see 3 different kinds of butterflies on it. The swallowtails love it. So I guess I'll just let it strut its stuff, right? Some tall Rebecca, which I think earlier this summer I was thinking I was going to get rid of, but now it finally bloomed, and I always love it when it blooms, so I'm going to leave it. The birds like it, and the butterflies do too. My little lime hydrangea, y'all, look how great it looks in that little container. It's amazing to me. This is the 3rd or 4th year I've had this one. 4th year, I think. No, 3rd. Anyway, it is coming into its own. There's another Gatsby pink. This is the punk celosia. We'll see how it comes on in the fall. Right now I'm not overly impressed. The color is pretty, but it's not like dragon's breath. But we'll see what it does. It might surprise me before the growing season's out, because stuff will bloom here until November. You can see on this one, this is some of the dieback that I was talking about a little bit earlier. And it's hard for me to know. I don't feel like I'm watering too much. It's hard to know. Hopefully it's not a fungus, but it does concern me, because I feel like I've seen a little bit more each week. It's not horrible, but enough to kind of, have me on a little extra alert. Then we've got some smooth hydrangeas. The limetta never did bloom. Now these I thought had died. So they were very tiny to begin with. So now that they finally have established themselves, I'm hoping that next summer, spring, they will bloom. If not, then I might need to think about relocating them. And those blooms on that one on the end, that's the Invincible Pink. That is from May, y'all. I never did cut that back. I mean, look how pretty. It's faded, but pretty. Unfortunately, it did not do that on this one, although this one still looks really nice, right? I don't think I'm going to get a repeat flush on this. I was hoping I might, but I really don't think that's going to happen. This is my other snow sprite cedar, I believe, and this is the third year I've had it, and now, like, you can really see it's starting to come into its own. It was pretty pitiful when I got it a couple years ago, but it's looking good. Real quick, I'm going to pan around here. I'm not going to spend a lot of time. The banana elysiums look great. I never did get a trellis to cover up my paint swatches on here for this purple bean vine, but I think I'm going to have to cut this back just because it's growing into my banana elysiums, and I'm really scared it's going to choke them. So, yeah, that's on me. I should have gotten the trellises that I wanted, and I just never did. You can also see it's growing into the impatiens, which I love this color. This is not something I normally pick, but I like it. Some more banana elysium, Kentucky switchgrass. This is Mountain Fire Pieris. It does get dieback, but it's really pretty. I like it. I did lose one this year. I hope I don't lose that one. So these are both Arctic salvias. There's the hot pink and the purple. I don't know if these are not as vigorous as the red, or if this just doesn't get enough sun. I feel like I'm going to try and move this, and if it does not perform up to stint, because this is the second year I've had it, if it does not perform next year, then it's going to have to go. I had an Arctic red for 4 or 5 years, and I lost it this spring with the late hard freeze. So we shall see. This is a Japanese maple I got for a really good price. I can't pronounce it. It's with the T. I'm sure those of you that are familiar with maples know what it is, but you can see it was kind of one-sided when I got it, which is probably why I got a good price, but the other side is filling in now. So I'm very pleased with that. My Pugster Ant Purple. This looks amazing. This is the best it's ever done. Lost my Royal Raspberry Hummingbird Mint, but the Blue Fortune is still going strong. Pink Cascade Butterfly Bush, doing good here. I forget the name of this hummingbird mint, but I got it from Select Seeds. It is a bit leggy and susceptible to heat wilt here in this raised bed, but I love it. The hummingbirds love it, so it stays. This is my original Pink Cascade. This thing is massive. I love this so much, and the butterflies love it. I've got several swallowtails out here and on the Gina phlox. I really should probably cut back or do something here, but I just, it's hard to bring yourself to do that when the pollinators love it so much. So, it stays. I did finally dig up that other Celosia that I told you did not do well. I transplanted, I think this is a black and blue salvia. This might be rock and blue. I'm not sure. I think it's black and blue. We'll see if it can rebound for the summers out. Cranberry Raz, which is another great butterfly bush. I do feel like this one has not bloomed as much as last year. Again, it's been kind of weird. This bed, I'm definitely going to rethink. I'm going to transplant this hydrangea. I love it, but I am going to transplant it, and I'm going to remove all the penstemon, and I'm going to do something completely different here. Last year I had a ton of coleus, and I'm really missing that. So I think next year that's what will go here. I just need like that punch of color. Love this phlox. I got some more this year on sale. So this is Gina, and the swallowtails love it. This is the third year for this Rebecca. Not as vigorous as years past. Again, I think the late hard freeze was a big factor, but it's looking good. The butterfly bushes are starting to recover a little bit over here. so that's good. Forever Goldie. The Purple Cascade has really struggled with heat wilt. I have moved my Primrose Summerific hibiscus, and it is reloading. I was not sure how it was going to do here, if it was going to get enough sun, but apparently it gets just enough. So it's greedy with water, but that's okay because it's beautiful. Even when the bugs eat the foliage, the blooms are amazing. This is who is this? Little Lime Punch. And even though it's 1,000,000 degrees, I'm actually getting some pink on this, which I think is remarkable because typically you got to be up north to get the pink on these. Just again, assorted annuals. I forget the name of this. I knew it, but I forgot it. It's not blooming like it did last year. I had these in, it is an annual. Last year I had a bunch in a sunnier spot and they bloomed pretty regular. But the foliage looks pretty, so, you know, I'm not mad. I mean, it's not its fault. I just didn't put it in the right place. But the foliage is pretty, so that's okay. Some more coleus. We've got the black and blue salvia and the Inferno coleus here. This was planted late. I think considering how late it was planted, it's done okay. Not quite as well as I had hoped, but not terrible. Let me just pan around. You can kind of get a little bit more of a view. So 1, 2, 3 swallowtails. Just over here. Again, I've got to knock down the spider web so none of these get hurt. This is some more of the purple castor bean vine. Supposedly this attracts pollinators. I've not seen anybody on it, but you know, we'll keep looking and see. The jury's out on this. It's not been as spectacular as I'd hoped, but we'll see. Again, maybe some star jasmine or something next year. Fat Albert. I got to get the spider webs off him. Finally got the hollyhock or whatever that was dug up here. That's been a disappointment every year. Because it killed my queen nectarine, which I will probably try and replant. Look, y'all, they love Blue Fortune. Again, you know, I'm not going to cut the Rebecca back because the pollinators do still like it. And I know I was saying earlier, I'm going to cut some of it back. Maybe just selectively cut some back because you can see they still like it and they're on it. So I guess I just need to get over myself and let it be and just let them enjoy it. All right, we're going to walk around just a little bit here. We're almost done. If you've stayed this long, thank you. You can see from the front. Again, it's not terrible. It's just a different look from last year. I felt like last year overall was more lush. Some things like the Pink Cascade just performed just as well. The Gina Phlox. You know, just some years are like that. But again, it's not terrible. It's just maybe not quite as pretty as what I've had in years past. But, you know, you live and you learn, you experiment and you try. And then, you know, you work from that. So definitely some things I will do differently next year. And some of it I think is just beyond your control. So you just make the best of it. I do like the Inferno coleus though. I wasn't sure at the beginning, but it has definitely grown on me this year. And it's interesting to me, like all coleus, you know, depending on how much sun they get, you know, the color is going to be a little different. But again, not terrible, just different. That's okay. More of the potato vine has been very happy here in my great-grandmother's wheelbarrow. The sedum has not really bloomed here. Like, you can see there's blooms, but it never fully showed the color because before it was over here and it got more sun. So I kind of need to rethink that. Part of me feels like I probably need to transplant it out, but I'm almost scared to. But it does need to have more sun. I don't know. Maybe I'll move the sedum over there where the hydrangea is. It would definitely get a lot of sun there. Just have to make sure, you know, they don't like a lot of water, so that's a little tricky. On the polka dot plant, it has not been bad. I was expecting it to be a little more lush, but again, I think it's probably not as lush because of the sun, but it still looks really pretty mixed in with the autumn joy sedum, even though it's not blooming really in the potato vine. You would never know it. I did just weed this Japanese maple a week ago, and here is the clover back, so you can see what I've got to do today. But it's, you know, my maples are very happy here. I struggled to kind of find the right spot for them. These were my rescues from Pike Nurseries a couple of years ago. You know, $39 sold. But they're coming along. I do like the color of these Impatiens. It's not quite as vivid as what you saw in the other pots, but it's not been bad. I have mixed feelings. I feel like I might like Coleus better here. And maybe it would be nice to have some of these in pots. You know, for a little extra punch of color. I'm going to have to think that through for next year. But right now, if I had to, you know, choose, I think I would want to do Coleus here. And then maybe put these in some smaller pots like you saw over there. And just, you know, kind of have some layers of color. But again, it's not terrible. Yeah, Japanese maple, very happy over here. I'm intrigued that this one has hardly any weeds and the other one has lots. Lots of clover. I've got to clean that up. But overall, you know, it's been a good gardening season. I definitely have struggled being out in my garden with the heat and having autoimmune diseases. Because heat and autoimmune stuff do not mix. And I feel like the end of June and all of July have been really, really hard for me. I feel like I've been flaring. But there is a little bit of a breeze today. Fall is coming. Hallelujah. So, you know, my summer and spring garden, I mean, it's pretty in all seasons, but I really do love a fall garden. So, I'm excited to see what it will do. And overall, I feel like there have been a few misses this year, but even with that, you know, you learn and you try. And I think like all gardeners, you know, I'm already looking ahead to next year and thinking about what I want to do, what I need to do this fall to help make that happen. And then thinking about things I need to do in the spring to be prepared. For sure, I need to amend my soil for all of my beds, whether it's the berm, my pots. I need to do a better job with that. I mean, I did some, but I don't feel like now in hindsight that I did enough. So that will definitely be a goal today, though. I feel like today's goals will be knock down spider webs, do a little deadheading, water everybody, and then I think I'll try and fertilize tomorrow. I don't want to overdo it. But everybody, for the most part, looks happy and healthy right now. And again, I'm excited to see what the fall garden looks like. And, you know, if circumstances permit, if I can find some annuals or maybe even a few perennials for a good price locally. You know, I do tend to sometimes pick up, not a ton, but a few things in the fall and kind of plug them in. So we'll see. I would like to do something a little bit more here. Also, I probably didn't even show you, but I have put a little bit more pine straw down. I think I could probably use a little bit more, but it's not terrible. I would like to do something here, and I like my raised beds from Grow Right, but those have gone up over $100 thanks to a certain person's tariffs. And, you know, I'm just not going to do that. So, I'm trying to kind of think here, you know, what might be an alternate solution here. So I have some thoughts, but maybe I'll say more in a fall video because I need to think it through a little bit more. Kind of dress this up a little bit more, I feel like. I would love to get another Fat Albert spruce to go here, and then maybe some additional hydrangeas, and then, you know, I could plug in some smaller pots next spring of annuals like the begonias and the coleus, you know, for like kind of semi-shade. But there's some good real estate here for things that like sun, so I need to think that through. Anyway, I'm just babbling and talking. If you have stayed with me this long through today's video, I appreciate it. Or even if you've skipped around and just watched parts that seemed interesting to you, that's totally fine too. I hope that wherever you're at, that your garden season is going great. And I think most of us, for sure, especially here in the South, are excited to see how our gardens evolve into the fall. Because, you know, I feel like fall is definitely I think my favorite season now here. I like spring too, but we don't have the pollen in the fall and the humidity. So we'll see what happens. But again, thank you so much if you joined me for part or all of the video today. I hope that you have a beautiful gardening season this month of August. And I'll check in with you all again in a few weeks. Take care and stay safe, everybody.